guys, welcome back to the vlog. Happy to have you here. Oh my god, this isn't a vlog. Wait, hang on, let me redo. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Aubrey. I am so happy to have you here. This week's video is gonna be a little different because I was away on a bachelorette trip this weekend with a bunch of my girlfriends from college. We had the best time. I did bring my vlogging camera. Didn't touch it once. You know what? I was living in the moment. I was very active on my Instagram stories, but that's the extent of everything. So I figured for this week, since I don't have vlog footage, I would sit down and do my makeup. I have a couple brand deals to film tonight, so I needed to have my makeup done, and I figured we could do it together and do a little catch up. I thought that this was gonna be kind of like a get to know me, which it kind of is, but I spent most of the time talking about the last couple months, what's been going on with me, moving in with my boyfriend, my endometriosis surgery, growing up in Florida. I guess we do cover a bunch of different topics. It just took a turn. I hit record, I started talking, and you'll see where the wind blew me. It went a whole bunch of different directions. I did my full face of glam. This is more than like my everyday makeup, but it's not quite like what I would do for an event or like a wedding guest. But when I want my makeup to look snatchy and I want to feel really good, this is the makeup that I do. And I walk you through all the products while we chit chat. But let me know any other questions you guys have. I'll kind of start compiling them and save them for when I do another video like this. I can just pull them up in my notes app and run through them. Any questions, whether about living in New York, working a corporate job, and also filming content, living with a boyfriend, dating in New York, whatever you want it to be on, let me know. I hope you enjoy my makeup routine and chit-chatting with me, and let's just jump straight into the video. Let's go ahead and do my makeup together. I am sitting in front of a window and with my little light right here, so the setup's a little janky. For foundation, this is House Labs. This is the shade 160 light neutral. Almost all of like my skin tone products are light neutral, like without fail. Sephora sale's coming up, and this weekend, a couple of my friends had the Patrick Ta foundation and their skin looked sick. Yeah, I think I need that foundation. So, hi guys, let's do a little catching up. I don't really have an objective for this video. I guess I should have done maybe like a Q&A and let you guys tell me what you want to know. I'm just gonna bring up random things that come to mind, and I did do a video similar to this on TikTok a couple months ago, and you guys really liked that, so maybe I'll just make this a little bit of a longer version. How has this been going for 10 minutes and I'm just now blending in my foundation? Insane. To share with the YouTube family, I live in New York City, which I think you guys know at this point. I moved in with my boyfriend, technically the end of June. I moved in with him into his one-bedroom apartment. It was just a really small apartment, and we knew it was gonna be pretty short term because we just needed more space. But honestly, it was fine for a few months, and then we ended up finding a 2-bedroom super close by that we really loved, and that's obviously where we are now, and it's just been the best time. Okay, yesterday when I did my makeup, I actually did the Kosas Revealer Extra Bright after my foundation. I went in with my normal tone concealer after my bronzer and blush, and I just felt like it made my makeup look so good. Usually I do foundation, concealer, and then blush and bronzer. Like it ends up looking like I have a sunglass line. So I've been experimenting with different ways to apply my concealer, and I really loved how this looked yesterday, so we're gonna go ahead and do that today. This is like the super pink Kosas eye corrector. I really like it, but a little bit goes a long way. So I was pretty against living with a significant other before engagement or marriage. This is gonna be I know that this is gonna be like a hot button topic. Sorry to trigger anyone. These are my own thoughts, and this is my own life. If you're on a different journey, fabulous. Take that with a grain of salt. But I was pretty against living with a significant other. I told all my ex-boyfriends when we were dating, I'll never live with you unless we're engaged or married. And I really did kind of stand by that. Now I'm gonna go in with the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer. This is the cream bronzer. This is in the shade Dark, which is pretty dark. Honestly, honestly, a better shade for me is medium dark, which I also have, but I just grabbed this first, so that's what we're gonna use. I wasn't like gonna die on the hill about it, but I just personally knew that moving in with someone is such a big deal. It's a big deal to my family. I come from a family with very traditional values, and living with a boyfriend was just kind of beat into my head to like never do. And personally, I did feel that way to an extent, but I wasn't like adamant against it. I think I always knew like if it was the right person, I'd be open to it. And if we'd had the right conversations, obviously, you know, that would be really important too. So anyway, I would say about like 6 months into my relationship with Mike, we kind of just started talking about it. You know, I think especially in New York City, leases are always on different cycles, rent's very expensive. And to me, I didn't want to move in with someone because logistically it made sense. I wanted to move in with someone because we both talked about it. And then that was just like the next step for our future. And I knew that we were on the same page about engagement being imminent. So we just started having those conversations. And I think I knew very early that I was obsessed with him and wanted to marry him. He tells me he feels the same, but I don't think he did. I'm a Cancer, so I really fall in love with everyone, but with him it was really special and different, I swear. I'm going in with my Patrick Ta blush. This is in the shade She Left Me on Red. This is my favorite blush. I feel like we don't talk about this blush enough. I don't think it's for everyone. It should be because it's just the best blush ever. A cherry red blush to me is way more natural than like a baby pink blush. It's so good. I'm gonna go in with the cream side first and then I'll set it with the powder. So where was I? What was I saying? I think for Mike, he was just a bachelor. I don't want to speak for him because that man he's so supportive, but like he doesn't want to be on the internet. So for me to speak for him feels a little disrespectful, but I'll just state a fact. And the fact was that this man was single for a really long time and he's very independent. He likes his alone time. So I think to then have to start thinking about living with me and like our future, I knew that he wasn't going to take that step with someone unless he was super serious about them. But when we started talking about it and I knew that he did want to live with me, I was like, wow, he likes me a lot and wants to marry me. He's obsessed with me. Okay, Dibs powder bronzer in Caramel Cappuccino. But I was very explicit of, I'm not living with you unless you see us getting married, hopefully sooner than later. But this hand's still a little bare, so no, but we talk about it all the time. And obviously we know, oop, I see a hair. And obviously we know we want to be together forever. So it just felt right. And thankfully my parents didn't disown me. So that's exciting. Now I'm going to go back in and set with the Patrick Ta powder. I'm on my 7th year of living in New York City and my boyfriend is from Long Island. I'm originally from Florida. We love it here so much. I feel like our roots are here. Our life is here. So we're happy here. Obviously, when it comes down to like kids and needing to be near my mom, we'll probably reevaluate. But okay, now I'm going in with the Natasha Denona concealer. This is in the shade Y4. I went to Florida State and I graduated in 2019 and I had the best time. I met the best of friends. Obviously, I was with a lot of them this weekend, but I loved high school. Is that crazy? Like high school was the time of my life. Here's the thing, like my independence definitely blossomed in high school, but my personality blossomed in college. I wouldn't say my confidence blossomed in college, actually probably the opposite. I was very lost in college. And I think that's probably why I don't think of it as fondly as a lot of people think about college probably. I just made really bad decisions. When you're drinking 5 days a week to excess, like that tends to happen. Coming out of a really nasty relationship, I think I was just trying to navigate a life of independence and like on my own and making new friends and responsibilities and yada yada. And I don't know. I loved college, but when I think of like formative years, it's probably high school. And I'm still so close with my high school best friends, like honestly like sisters at this point to me. They're some of my best friends and I'm very grateful for them. And we just all agree we had the best time in high school. I also just realized I put powder and then a cream with my concealer. I meant to do the concealer, then set that with the powder, then set my bronzer and blush with powder. Oops. Makeup by Mario setting powder to set the concealer and my T-zone. So yeah, high school was great. And also going to high school and growing up in Florida, sick. I loved growing up there. I want my kids to have the same experience. Like every weekend we were outside at the beach, at the pool. We did sports outside year round. Our school was literally outside. Like the hallways were outside. Everything was outside. And I just loved it so much. It was just such a special place to grow up. That being said, I think a lot of people look at me like I'm insane in New York for leaving Florida because everyone from New York goes to Florida. But what I find is that everyone from Florida comes to New York. And I'm from Tampa. It's not like it's the smallest city, but it's certainly not the biggest, especially when I was growing up. It's very different now than it was when I was growing up. It was definitely more of like a smaller city. It's changed a lot. So I was just ready for a big city, and I love New York. Like, what's not to like, you know? I also was recruited from Florida State to do my first job, and they were trying to get me to go to the Fort Lauderdale office. I asked if the New York office had an opening, and they said yes. So that's kind of how I got to New York. And a lot of my best friends from high school and from college were all moving here. So it just felt meant to be. For eyeshadow, I'm going in with my Makeup by Mario Master Mattes palette. I have not picked up another eyeshadow palette in years, I think. The only other thing I'll use for eyeshadow sometimes is this Patrick Ta eyeshadow duo, which I'm obsessed with. And actually, maybe we'll use a little bit of this today. I like to take these two bronze shades all the way to the right of the middle row and go in on my crease a little bit. If you have green or hazel eyes, I just feel like these warm shades really make your eyes pop. So I take that on a fluffy brush and I just blend out. I mentioned this earlier about just kind of like different phases of my life, and I feel like how I've been shaped throughout those phases. I really feel like now that I have been posting on social media and like doing this content creation stint, guys, I feel like I have a purpose. Is that really sad? That like insinuating I didn't have a purpose before. I really felt that way. I felt like I would go to work, if I would work from home, oh my God, I was so depressed. There are aspects of my job that are really fulfilling, but I just feel like overall, I didn't really feel like I had much of a purpose in this world. And obviously I really want to be a mom one day, and that kind of makes me feel like that will give me a whole new purpose at that time. But I don't know, I just feel like I needed some kind of outlet or hobby or something. Now I'm going to take the shade to the left. It's kind of like this chocolatey brown shade, and I'm just going to deepen up the crease a little bit with that. So yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I'm so much busier now, but much more fulfilled now that I have so much on my plate, which is crazy because I'm just being super real with you guys. I might get in trouble for this. I was waking up every morning and just like living another day. And now that I like wake up and have something to look forward to each morning and each evening, it just has completely reinvigorated my life and like my personality. It also helps that this is all around the time I moved in with my boyfriend, who he's my favorite person in the world. I'm completely obsessed with him. So it does probably help that when I really started picking up content was around the time I moved in with Mike. So I don't know, that probably helps the psyche too. Now I'm taking the bone shade on a flat brush and I'm gonna just go in and carve out my crease a bit. I am working in hyperdrive, and I had no idea that I was even capable of doing work outside of my 9 to 5. It's true what they say, if you're doing something you love, you won't ever work a day in your life. So I'm very grateful that I pursued this and have been taking it as seriously as I have been. So I'll give you guys also a little catch up on my endometriosis surgery, or whether it's my friends or like another creator that I meet at an event. I feel like everyone always asks me how I'm doing, which is so sweet. And I kind of forget. I'm like, doing? I'm great. What do you mean? And obviously they're asking about my surgery and how I've been recovering and how I've been feeling. So I'll give you guys a little bit of an update. I want to do a full sit down endometriosis catch up, but it felt kind of weird doing that without giving you guys like a little chatty get ready with me type of video, because then I can at least tell you a little bit more about me before I start like giving super personal details. We're working towards it, you know what I mean? Usually I take the brown shade to do my eyeliner, but today I feel like giving you guys a little bit of a show, so I'm gonna go in with the black. So overall, I'm feeling really good. The main reason I got the endometriosis surgery in the first place was actually because I was hospitalized with a bowel obstruction at 27. I'm no doctor, so when that was the diagnosis of what was wrong with me, I had no idea what that meant. And come to find that it's really something that plagues the elders. An 80-year-old will be hospitalized with a bowel obstruction. So the fact I'm 27 and relatively healthy and had that happen was pretty crazy. So this was back in January of 2024, so almost 2 years ago now. I was out on the road for work meetings. My territory is Long Island. I was driving around Long Island. I had a rental car for the day. I woke up with a little bit of a stomach ache, but what's new, you know, like that's my everyday. So I kind of just powered through, and then I remember I ended up stopping for lunch and I got a salad, and literally I would have a bite, I would swallow, excruciating pain 20 seconds later. So much so that it actually felt like contractions. Well, I've never given birth, and I kept eating because I was like, well, maybe it's just like severe hunger pains and I'm just starving. And so I kept eating, kept getting worse and worse, to a point where I was doubled over outside of the restaurant in excruciating pain. So I ended up canceling my meetings. I came home, I got into bed. I didn't leave bed the rest of the day, but I also was like, I haven't really eaten today. So I kept trying to like eat bread, drink water. Every time I did that, my stomach was hurting so badly. Also, my dad was in the GI field for most of his career. This was so rare what was going on with me that it didn't even occur to him that that was what could have been going on with me. I'm gonna take the bronzy shades on a little pencil brush, and I just like to give myself a little button nose that way. So anyway, I woke up at 2 a.m. in screaming in pain, screaming. My roommate slash best friend at the time is a PA. So she's like, this isn't normal. We got to go to the hospital. Okay. Now I'm taking the Kosas brown eyeliner, and I'm just going to tight line and set that powder with the pencil. She took me to the hospital. I was in the ER. First time I've ever been to the ER. First of all, they wanted to give me morphine. I was like, guys, I have a severe stomach ache. Like, I don't think I need morphine for that. But I was in so much pain that I would have taken it, but like that scares me. So I didn't. So they ended up giving me like super heavy duty Tylenol. And why morphine or Tylenol? Like, is there a common ground here? You know, like, really? You have nothing in between. So they gave me Tylenol. They sent me back after a few hours to get a CT scan. Obviously, my mom literally drove to the airport in Tampa, got, I think, standby on the next flight out to come and be with me. Mind you, I just started dating a man that I was literally praying would like me back for like 5 months. So to call him and say, hey, I have a really bad stomach ache and I'm in the hospital, was a really scary thought. Like, we've come a long way, obviously, but we had just started dating. Like, I didn't want to be a burden, ? So anyway, I did text him and I said, hey, not to freak you out, but I am in the hospital. And obviously he wanted to come up and be with me right away, but he had like a client in town from Japan, like he couldn't, and I didn't want him to. Like, there wasn't anything, I was just sitting there waiting, like there wasn't anything he could have done. So anyway, he came like, I think at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to be with me the second he could, but at that point my mom was already there too. So anyway, after a few hours, they sent me back for a CT scan. I had that done, and then I fell asleep on the stretcher in the hallway, and I was woken up by 6 surgical residents who were saying, you have a bowel obstruction. Have you had prior surgery, like open abdominal surgery? And I was like, no. I think I want to put on a little bit more blush. So anyway, I was there. They basically said, yep, you have a bowel obstruction, and the only thing to really help this is for you to not eat or drink anything until you first go to the bathroom. That was days, by the way. And I couldn't leave the hospital because I was extremely dehydrated. I couldn't drink any water. So they had me on IV fluids. And then I was finally admitted to a room. Oh my God, I'm giving you guys like, this was not the direction I thought this was gonna go. I'm giving you like this full trauma dump. Anyway, I was admitted. I stayed another night. So I think I was in the hospital for like almost 72 hours. And then I was able to come home and just kind of like recover from home. It basically put me on this path of figuring out what the heck was wrong with me. For years, have seen a million different GI doctors. I've had colonoscopies, I've had endoscopies, I've had SIBO testing, I've had everything you could possibly have done from a GI, every kind of workup, and they all are like, we don't know what to do with you. Everything's normal. You just have IBS. And I'm like, girl, I don't have IBS. Like, there's something really wrong here. And mind you, I have had really painful periods my whole life. I was 13 years old, throwing up and unable to stand. And then I went on birth control for many years. It was manageable. Like, they weren't pleasant, but it was definitely like, I didn't throw up and like need to quit life the week of my period, but it definitely wasn't pleasant, especially because I was on birth control, and like that's supposed to be the solution for painful periods, and it just like wasn't really helping. I actually had one doctor, one sweet resident in the hospital when I was there. She's the only one that said this. The really scary thing is that you have to really advocate for yourself because unfortunately, a lot of doctors just kind of check a box. And especially when you're in the ER, they just want to make sure you're not dying. Really difficult to get to the root of the problem. So thankfully, I did have one sweet, sweet, sweet angel. She actually was the one that said, listen, we actually sometimes see this because of scar tissue wrapping around the bowels. And she asked me if I knew what endometriosis was. And I did, because honestly, for years, I've kind of just self-diagnosed that I had it because my mom has it, and obviously my painful periods. We're very endometriosis aware in my house. I talked to my gynecologist about it. My gyno was like, yeah, you can meet with someone, maybe that'll put you on the right path. The person she referred me to was not helpful, very dismissive, horrible bedside manner. So I kind of just thought like, okay, I don't have it, or it's not something I need to worry about until I have children. And then my therapist actually told her probably 6 months ago that this whole thing happened last year because I wasn't working with her at the time. So I filled her in on everything when I started working with her. And she said, do you think you have endometriosis? Turns out she has it. She referred me to her doctor, who basically put me on the path of getting an answer. And because my dad is in the medical field, he actually, hang on. Oh my God, I also just realized I completely forgot to talk through what I was just using. Lash curler is e.l.f. YSL Lash Clash Mascara, and then Charlotte Tilbury Foxy Brown lip liner. And I just like to kind of contour with this. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with the Kosas lip liner in the shade Beyond. So my dad actually reached out to a colleague of his who referred us to another surgeon who came really highly recommended. So I actually met with her and decided to do my surgery with her. She met with me, said, yep, I'm recommending surgery as course of treatment for you as well. So I had my endometriosis excision surgery at the end of July. So it's been July to August. Oh my God, it's been almost 3 months to the day. Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lip in Black Cherry. I love this. This is one of my favorite lip shades ever. And now I'm going with my Kosas Brow Gel. This is just the clear one. Yeah, so my surgery was almost 3 months ago. They did find 2 endometriosis lesions, and they said I'm probably around like stage 2 of endo, which is good because from what they could tell, my fertility wasn't really being impacted, which is great news. I'm gonna let both the mascara and the brow gel dry down, and then I'm gonna go in with the pencil, and I'm also gonna recurl my lashes as well. We'll just chit chat until then. Yeah, so they found 2 endometriosis lesions, and I also did know that I had a cyst because it was causing me a lot of pain about 6 years ago when I first moved to New York. So I did see a specialist who basically ruled out that it was any kind of tumor or something serious. But whenever I had an MRI done, which guys, there's been a whole long history of, like, I'm kind of giving you the Spark Note version, but a lot of stuff happened in 2023 to me that kind of put me on this path. I just had a lot of MRIs done during that year. Every time I had that done, they picked up this cyst, and nobody really knew where it was, which is so insane to me. Like, how can you not see where this is? This 5 to 6 centimeter cyst, and every time imaging picked it up, it was a different size. So I had a doctor tell me not to worry. It's probably just a menstrual related cyst. So whatever time I'm in my cycle, the cyst will change shape and size, I guess. But basically to monitor it, and if it's painful, to come in and they'll remove it. So I knew that it was there. But anyway, when they went in for my excision surgery, they obviously saw this cyst, and it turns out it was hanging off of my fallopian tube, which I'm no doctor, but sounds pretty scary because that thing is really small and narrow. And again, not a doctor, but I would assume that a 6 centimeter cyst is a golf ball. I would think if it's clinging on to that fallopian tube, like, couldn't it get twisted and like get permanent damage? Weird that with 8 MRIs, not a single doctor told me to be aware of that. I've had a few PAs reach out to me and ask about my recovery and everything. When I tell them about the cyst, they are immediately concerned because they were like, yeah, any doctor should have had that removed. If a cyst is over, I think it's like 5 or 6 centimeters. I can't remember what the cutoff was that I keep hearing. But if it's the size that mine was, they should have removed it years ago. Anyway, it's out now, so it's all good. But yeah, so 2 endometriosis lesions and a 6 centimeter cyst, a golf ball in my uterus. And that alone probably could have been leading to a lot of my inflammation and discomfort. So really crazy. I just had a lot of inflammation over the years. I feel like in my face, in my body, my stomach, like all the GI inflammation. And, you know, I try to eat pretty clean and pretty healthy. I could be better, but this is the Kosas Brow Pencil in medium dark. I don't want to be eating super restricted, but I listen to my body and that's what matters. So anyway, I felt like no matter what I did, it was really hard for me to reduce my inflammation. And then I had my surgery and it's night and day, honestly. The period pains were definitely a little bit better, but it's kind of hard to tell because then I went back on birth control last month. So I only had 2 periods post-surgery, and they did warn me that those would be pretty painful. And they weren't terrible. Like, honestly, the surgery itself was really tough. So after that, I feel like I could deal with a, painful period. Now that I'm back on birth control, I had my period last week and it was fine. It just lasted a really long time, but the pain was like fine. I don't even think I took Advil, which is kind of crazy. Pill is helping. And I went back on it because that's what my doctor recommended to keep all the endometriosis regrowth limited. It could come back, but reduce my chances of needing surgery again or having the pain reemerge. This particular birth control progesterone only pill is kind of the course of treatment. I'm going to recurl my lashes and then do a layer of waterproof mascara. I do this every time I do my makeup. My lashes have not fallen out from this, but I do it very carefully. So proceed with caution if you do this at home. Yeah, I would say that the biggest thing I've noticed is definitely the inflammation. My stomach is really sensitive. It's actually been really sensitive the last couple weeks, which I think is, I honestly don't know. It might be period related, but it could also be just like something I've been eating. I'm not sure. But yeah, my stomach hasn't felt the greatest the last couple weeks. And I've definitely had some pretty painful stomach aches. So it was feeling a lot better for the first 2 months after surgery. And yeah, the last couple weeks, I don't really know what's going on. The overall inflammation is down and my brain fog is a lot better. My fatigue is a lot better. Like all of those things that were just impacting my quality of life are a lot better. Like I feel like my energy's back and I feel like a normal human, which is really, really great. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm doing. That's kind of what led me to surgery and like how I'm doing after. I definitely want to do a full detailed video of like everything that led me to my excision surgery and obviously the surgery itself. I did document every day for the first week of my recovery, which was the toughest. I did document that and vlog every morning of the first 7 days of recovery over on my TikTok, if you haven't seen those already. And it's been so special. Like seriously, I could cry because I was just really worried about posting those videos. And I have had so many girls, they're messaging me. One girl actually is going to my surgeon, so I was able to kind of give her some of my thoughts and opinions before her surgery. And just a lot of people just saying like, thank you so much. I've been petrified. My surgery's in a couple weeks and like seeing your videos really helped me know what to expect. And then I've also seen a lot of girls that have had the surgery that reached out thanking me for posting because they're saying that it was definitely the most realistic laparoscopic procedure recovery that they've seen, which made me feel really good because obviously I was panicking about like oversharing on the internet and like, is anyone going to want to see this? Are people going to care? It's been the most rewarding thing. People care a lot and I'm helping people by talking about this. So yeah, it's a crazy thing to go through and it's weird because it's not cancer. So you just feel kind of crazy like talking about it. I'm just putting on a little bit more blush. And I just think the fact it's like a woman's disease, it's a chronic illness, but because it's something that only impacts women, I think that we're kind of like ingrained to downplay it in our minds. But I think after seeing what I went through firsthand, I personally know that like that's not the case. And anyone in my life who saw what I went through, I think also knows that. And it is a really serious illness. I mean, it impacts how you feel day to day, how you survive. It impacts your fertility, which is like, as women, I think a lot of us feel like that's what we're put on this planet to do, is like have children. For the most part, not everyone feels that way. I feel that way. Like animalistically, we're meant to have children. So when you're diagnosed with an illness where your body like is at jeopardy to not do that, it just feels really crazy. So yeah, it's been a whole journey, but honestly, I am feeling so much better. I am so grateful to my followers and to obviously my friends and family that have been so concerned and checking in on me. People ask my parents all the time, like, how's she doing? I saw her video. So it's really sweet. And I'm good. I'm happy that I did it. I hope that I don't need it again. Overall, I'm feeling a lot better than I was even 6 months ago. So it was the right decision and I'm proud of myself for going through it. Wow. Okay. So that was an hour. I've been filming for an hour. There's still so much that I want to say and like share with you guys about, again, the surgery, the recovery, what led me to kind of down the path. Like, yes, the bowel obstruction was the final straw, but there was so much more over the last 15 years of my life that kind of ultimately led me to going through with surgery. But I also want to answer the questions that you guys have. If you're hearing what I'm saying and like it's resonating to some extent, or you know someone who's gone through this, please leave a comment for me or message me with any questions, because I definitely want to do a full sit down and answer any questions you guys have and give you like the full start to finish about the surgery and the disease and like my experience, because I feel like we just silently suffer and that's just no way to live. Just because someone's suffering in a different way than someone else doesn't make your suffering less. It's still impacting your life. Suffering is suffering, you know what I mean? So that's really it. So hopefully you guys liked this and we'll be back to the vlogs next week. I appreciate all of you guys being here. Thank you so much for all the love and support on the YouTube channel. I've had the best time, clearly. I just sat and wouldn't shut the hell up for 61 minutes and 40 seconds doing my makeup, which usually this makeup could take me 20 minutes. So don't forget to go and follow me on TikTok and Instagram if you haven't already. I have been so active on Instagram stories and posting content over on Reels. I've also been getting really exciting opportunities from brands to be posting on stories and Reels, and they're opportunities that necessarily haven't been on TikTok. So make sure you're following me on Instagram. Like, there's some different content over there. I post several stories a day. So if you want to see what's going on in real time, make sure to go follow me on Instagram, and obviously like and subscribe over here on YouTube. And let me know what you guys want to see next for another sit down chatty video. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for supporting, and I love ya, and I'll see you next week. Bye.